I would like to thank our sponsors at Schecter Guitars, makers of fine guitars for over 50 years. They make a huge variety of guitars and basses, all high-quality builds with the best materials and pickups at a reasonable price. Of course, Schecter offers a rip-roaring selection of bass guitars. It's the Model T4 and the Corsair. And right now, Schecter is celebrating 50 years of craftsmanship, innovation, and tone with their 50th anniversary collection. Head on over to schecterguitars.com and check it all out. Again, that is schecterguitars.com. You'll love it. Donnie here, and I want to talk about our sponsor for the Why Bass podcast, Jim Dunlop MXR. Since 1965, Jim Dunlop has given us what we need with strings, picks, straps, and pedals. And not just any pedals, pedals for bassists, which not a lot of people do. They offer the bass synth, which I've used on the Kelly Clarkson cover with the Toadies. They've got a T-bass distortion chorus a la Peter Hook, the Dynacomp for compression, and all bass players need compression. What I use every day on the road is the Bass DI floor unit to give me that extra punch that my front-of-house engineer loves. When it comes to picks, my go-to is the 1mm flex to give me the attack that I need. Head over to jimdunlop.com and check out their massive variety of pedals, picks, and strings. They have it all at jimdunlop.com. Hello, this is the Why Bass podcast with Donivan Blair, and I'm Donivan Blair. Go figure. Hey everybody, this is the Why Bass podcast with Donivan Blair, and I'm going to ask today's guest, Casey Orr from GWAR, why he picked it up. We're going to talk the road, we're going to talk studio, we're going to talk the stage, and we may even get a little philosophical. Let's get in there. Hey Casey, how are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Donnie?
I am doing great. Where does today find you, sir?
I am in Dallas, Texas. It is raining and dark and overcast.
Don't you love it?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's Dallas,
It's
Traffic's
Dallas.
always amazing.
The worst. And I lived in Houston for 9 months. This is the worst. Maybe parts of Mexico City are worse. But
Really?
Dallas is horrible. Just terrible drivers. Terrible.
Well, terrible. 30 is always awesome, right?
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you go. Everything's 45 minutes away, even if it should be 10 minutes away. It's just terrible.
That's why I live in Amarillo.
Right.
I have like a 10-minute drive and people bitch about it. That's clear across town. It's 5 minutes. That's it.
It's like when people in Richmond talk about traffic, I'm just like, man, you don't even know. You don't even know.
No clue. But again, thanks for taking off one of your precious days to come talk to me. Because you leave, you said Tuesday?
Yeah.
Right.
Tuesday, go to Richmond. We're going to start talking about and working on new songs with a new album, hopefully by early next year.
Great.
And then also we're rehearsing to go out on tour with Soulfly and King Parrot.
That's going to be badass.
It's going to be badass.
It's going to be incredible. Yeah, Zach had, I think Mike DeLeon, their guitar player from Soulfly, on his show a couple of months ago and said he was just a great guy.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun tour. Kind of know the King Parrot guys. We saw them. We were just in Australia in December and ran into a couple of those guys and hung out.
Zach turned me on to my brother Zach. You know him.
Yeah.
You've met him before.
Oh, I know Zach.
You've met Zach. I think y'all were in a band together for a while.
Yeah, for a little bit. A couple of bands.
I think you've done you've probably done the world with him a couple of, you know him. Anyway.
You know him, you love him. Zach Blair, ladies. No, you guys are two of my favorite people in the world, man.
Dude, vice versa. Because you and I have the same birthday too. That's what I've always loved about you. That's why I get you. You get me. That's why you're one of my favorite people.
Well, still one of the favorite memories is you guys letting me get up and play bass on a song or two with Hagfish. I love that. I love that I got to do with it.
I got to say this, one of my first memories, and we're going to go, this will tie back in. One of my first memories was our cousin Eric. He was telling us he died a couple of years back, unfortunately, but he said he was going to see Slayer or something. This is like mid '80s, before the first Rigor Mortis record. And he was telling us about the show, and he said we're like, how did it go? He goes, well, we couldn't get in, and there was like a chain link fence, so I found the Rigor Mortis guys and just went behind them, and they just knocked the fucking fence down and just bum rushed the place. Like, well, that makes sense. All right, yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds like a typical Saturday.
How about this for a segue? Casey, why bass?
Why bass?
Why bass?
Why
Casey?
bass?
But seriously, I've never asked you, and I've never I don't know that answer.
And I like the premise of the show. This is because a lot of bass players were guitar players or this or that, but I can tell you why I play bass is directly due to the influence of my oldest brother Grady. Grady, when I was younger, would force me to sit down and listen to the Beatles, Yes, King Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer,
wow.
And that kind of stuff. And he would try to school me on this music that he loved so much. And I noticed right away that the bassists in all these bands really stood out. The bass stood out as an instrument. And I don't think most kids my age thought about that or recognized that unless somebody told them. So I recognized this other instrument that wasn't the guitar or whatever. And I don't know, I was just attracted to it. My brother had a couple of basses. And one day, I guess I was probably 12, 13, kind of out of the blue. He gifted me one of his basses.
Whoa.
And it was like a P bass knockoff, no name bass. So I had it for a week or so. I didn't really play it because I didn't know how to play. And he came to my room and he goes, well, I changed my mind. I want that bass back, but I have another bass I'll give you. And he gave me a 1965 Hofner Beetle bass, made in Hamburg, all original case and everything. And so I had this little violin bass and, plunking around on it. And that's when I first started really playing, I guess, was on that. Well, nobody would let me play in their band in junior high because I had this stupid little violin bass that wasn't cool. Yeah. And so I had to get an electric bass. And I remember taking this, this must have been, I don't know, 79 or something. And I took this thing around, 78 or 79. I took this thing around a guitar show and nobody would buy it. Nobody wanted this 1965 Hamburg-made Hofner Beetle bass, original case. God. All the little saddle bits were still there. It was great shape. And some guy hurried by and said, is that a Hofner Beetle bass? I said, yeah. And he goes, I'll give you $250 at whatever booth. So about an hour and a half later, I dragged the bass over there and got the $250, and I bought a PVT 40.
Yes.
And I was able to join my first rock and roll band,
which was
Rampage.
Yes. With who? Anyone I know?
No. God, I remember Steve, the drummer. Shit, I don't know. I've got a couple of really bad photographs. We played at church
with a name like Rampage.
Yeah, but we were 14, and one of the guys went to the church. They let us practice in the youth house, and we destroyed it. And they locked all our gear in it, and so we broke a window. I broke a window. I still have a scar from breaking the window.
That's a war wound, man. That's a war wound.
And so I broke the window and we got in and we got our stuff and we still played. They still let us play.
You bleed for your craft.
Yeah, still do. Still to this day.
Yeah, well, you literally do. You're covered in it.
A lot more blood now.
A lot more blood. A lot more. So wait, what songs were y'all doing back then?
Oh, God. I think we did... Man, I don't even know. I'm sure we did some Van Halen. We were horrible. It's not. If I had a tape of it, I'm sure it would be unrecognizable what we were actually playing. This day and age, no one would let that band even play anywhere because it was that bad. But I can't really remember what songs.
Whatever's on the
Probably
zoo,
probably
probably.
"Fly By Night" by Rush.
Nice.
That was one of the first songs I think I ever tried to play in a band.
Really? Did you start with fingers or pick back then?
I started with a pick. Just I don't know why I started with a pick, but I started with a pick, and then when I started playing for real, it was with Mike Scaccia and
Well,
Rigor
yeah.
Mortis,
Mhm.
and I mean that was so fast, that it was basically playing rhythm guitar and speed metal.
Your
So
right hand is insane, dude. I got
I
to tell
always
everyone that.
I
Jesus
always used to
Christ.
pick then.
Well, you had
And
to.
I mean, and I'm not really prolific with my fingers, but I can play. I drop a pick, I can finish the song.
Yeah.
But I wish I was better. I can't slap. I ain't got much funk in me.
I wish I had your right hand. That's what I wish.
I
Especially like
wish I
playing
had
with
your
a
brothers. I wish I had
Jesus.
Zach's right hand. Jeez.
Everybody wishes they. The only two people on the planet who don't are James Hetfield and Scotty Ian. Because Malcolm Young's dead. But other than that, the kid's right hand is fucking incredible, man. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I did. But I wish I had. When I'm playing with the pick, I wish I had your right hand because it's just so fucking tight. And you had to be right there with Mike Scaccia. For anyone out there listening to this, do yourself a favor, go listen to everything Rigor Mortis, especially the first record. So I want to get to that. Like, how did you guys get together? Take me through that.
Let's see. So I played around with a few kids from junior high and this and that, and then eventually I met Hardin Harrison,
Okay.
who's the drummer for Rigor Mortis, and we just sort of like, we just look at each other in the hallway at school, like, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? You got long hair. You got long hair. Do you play an instrument? Yeah. What do you play? We just kind of were like, yeah, what's up? And he played drums and I played bass. So we started talking about, playing together. And he ended up playing in a band called Eruption with some older guys, and they did okay. They started playing clubs and stuff. He had to have a note from his mother so he could play in these bars.
Nice.
I remember going to see him at Vera's Rock Haven Club in Grand Prairie,
Really?
and he had to have a note to get in, and I just snuck in and bought beer. I didn't need a note. I just snuck in. Um, but so he played in a band before we really got together. But when that band broke up, we started looking for guitar players. And the guitar player from Eruption had met Mike Scaccia and brought him to a get together practice. And just instantly, the three of us just locked in.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everybody that was in the room was just like bug eyed, like, holy shit. Because I think Mike was just one of those raw talented dude. I mean, if he could conjure the tune in his head, he could translate to his hands instantly. I've never had that. I'm a utility guy. I can learn your shit. I can play it.
We're human beings. We're not. Mike Scaccia wasn't. I mean, again, everyone, rest in peace, Mike Scaccia. Probably,
man.
I think and Zach and I were having this discussion the other day about Mike, that I think hands down, and Zach's opinion, Mike's one of probably the 5 best guitar players that he's ever encountered, easily, fucking easily.
I had always wished that there had been a moment when him and Dimebag could just have a friendly, playoff with each other, because they were both amazing and both from the same area of DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, and we knew each other. We weren't like really close, the two bands, and our fans would fight with each other because they thought Pantera were posers and this and that, like before Phil joined. But we always got along when we saw each other, and I just always thought it would have been just one of the coolest things ever to witness is those two guys just drinking and jamming and just trying to fuck with each other, and I think both of them would have given each other a run for their money, but I think at some point Mike would have picked up a mandolin or a banjo
Yeah.
or something maybe that he had never played in his life, and would
Mhm.
just shred, and Don would go, "You motherfucker," grab him by the neck and go have another drink.
Yeah.
Because Mike was just, I remember Mike playing on a banjo, and I was like, "When the fuck did you start playing a banjo?" And he goes, "I've never played a banjo before," and he's just, just chicken picking. Awesome. Yeah, he was
Just
just
incredible,
a
man.
raw, talented, incredible, crazy motherfucker, man.
And an amazing human, just a sweet guy. I had a huge soul. I loved him. I loved him. I
Yeah,
loved him.
I heard
Great guy.
so much from people after he died about how much time he spent talking to them about like when he did clinics for
Yeah.
Gibson at like guitar centers and stuff, and guys would come up and talk to him, and then I'd see them years later, and they would just like the best memory of their life was Mike taking 30 minutes just to talk to them about playing guitar and
Yeah.
encouragement and all that.
You guys were our rock stars. Yeah, there are other bands doing big like that, but like even when Pantera started doing great, we still looked up to my brother and I still looked up to Rigor Mortis because that was what spoke to us. So hanging out with you and meeting Mike and meeting everyone was just like, oh shit, this is fantastic because we looked up to you guys so much because you're such an incredible band. And you're talking about the three of you sounding so tight. That's what I couldn't believe. We saw you open up for Slayer. They were on God, it was South of Heaven tour. Y'all
Yeah,
were in
yeah.
Granada. Do you remember this?
Oh yeah.
I got a contact high from all the weed. I passed out like in the front row. I did. I went down, dude. And you guys came out and it sounded just like the fucking record. And we didn't know. We were like, okay, this sounds amazing, but we'll see how good these guys really are. And it sounded amazing. It sounded exactly like the fucking record. All the solos, everything was perfect because Zach had listened to that constantly. He would rewind it, listen to the solo, rewind it. I mean, he had it nailed in his head and he was like, it's perfect. It's fucking perfect, man. All of them.
We rehearsed so much back then. I mean, we just
You could tell.
like from the beginning of Rigor Mortis until Mike joined ministry and all that. All we did was rehearse and drink beer and smoke weed. And
Yeah.
we would do all of those things for 12 hours a day. We would rehearse until somebody, usually Harden, would finally just like, I can't play anymore. And then Mike would call him a pussy, and then we'd go
You,
we'd go drink a bunch of beer.
that's the thing, you Arlington guys, man. All of you guys are a different fucking breed, man. You and all of you guys and Clint and Barsotti and Woodard, all of you are exactly the same. And Pete, everybody, man.
Uh,
So everybody I've met from Arlington of that crew, you all remind me of each other, and it's funny as hell. And you're just
yeah, I guess
brutal,
I kind of see that.
dude. You're brutal. You're brutal people, man. So you guys did Rigor Mortis, and then you did. I know Bruce quit. Then you did Freaks. I forgot the name of that singer that was on Freaks.
Doyle Bright came
That's
in.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Was he Dallas? He wasn't, or was he Texas?
No, he was Georgia,
Okay.
I think.
It's a good record. I love that record too. But after that, Mike went to ministry, and you played with ministry for a little bit too, didn't you?
Mike had moved up to Chicago and for a while, and then he wanted to move back. So me and a friend drove up to Chicago to drive Mike and his girlfriend back.
Okay.
And they were Al was in the studio mixing the Revolting Cocks "Linger Thick and Good" record, and we went to the studio, and he just found out that they were doing Lollapalooza
Okay.
'92. They were going to be doing Lollapalooza, and I wasn't doing anything at all at the time, so I kind of half begged him to just give me a gig, roadie, and bass tech, whatever. I don't care, man.
Yeah.
Just get me on the road, man. Let me do some. And he was like, "Well, I don't know, man. I don't want to give you some shitty job, blah blah blah. You're too good for that." I'm like, "Dude, I don't give a fuck, man. I will push all the road cases. I don't give a shit."
Uh-huh.
And so finally he was like, "Oh, I got a great idea. You'll be bass tech." He doesn't even talk to Paul Barker about it. He just decides I'll be bass tech. And
This is Al. This is Al saying this.
yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
And so I'm like, which is what I always do. I just go, yeah, okay, sure.
Say yes.
That's how I've done everything that's ever happened to me has just been like, okay, let's go. So I just said, yeah, cool. Okay, I'll go be bass tech. And then he goes, yeah, and Paul's wife's pregnant. So you'll have to cover for him, at least for a couple of shows on Lollapalooza. I'm like, I've never been in a tour bus before. I'm just like, nope.
I don't know the songs. I
don't know any of the songs. So I said, hell yeah. And then I had to learn all the songs and went out on Lollapalooza, and I ended up playing 7 shows.
Wow.
Including Dallas. So me and Mike are standing on stage playing in front of 30,000 people with Kirk Hammett and Chris Cornell and Flea. I had to teach Flea how to play Supernaut backstage at Starplex or whatever.
Really?
Somebody gave me a tape. I have it on video. I didn't know anybody had filmed it, but I'm sitting on a couch showing Flea how to play Supernaut, and we both played it that night on stage. So I played with Flea, Chris Cornell, all these people, and me and Scaccia are looking at each other while we're playing and just like fucking laughing our asses off. Like there's probably 1,000 people out there that hate our guts from the old days and can't believe they're seeing us up there on stage. But yeah, so I ended up going out as bass tech, green as grass, hanging out with all these rock stars, and and I didn't know shit, man. It was a trip.
Maybe though, I don't know, dude. I think you're not giving yourself the credit. Like, definitely not.
Well, I mean, at the time, I was just very inexperienced. I hadn't done anything. I hadn't gone anywhere.
But
so that was all.
You were good enough to be there. And my point, you were good enough to be there.
I was good enough to bullshit my way through any situation, which is what I've done all my life. Oh. That is my secret. It's just always saying, yes, I can do that.
We're Texans, Casey. That's what we do. We bullshit, right?
That's right. And 90% of the time, the bullshit pays off,
Works.
and no one's any the wiser. I've got the worst imposter syndrome. I've recorded 25 albums. I've been doing this for 40-something years, touring in stupid costumes and all these different bands. And I still have this thought in the back of my mind. One day they're all going to find out I can't really do any of this.
Oh shit! The other shoe's gonna drop.
Keeps me on my toes, man. It keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm with you. But I mean, the same thing is you just say yes. Not a lot of people do. They go, "Oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that." And then they tell their friends, like, "You fucking idiot! Why didn't you just do it? You just say yes. Say yes." So after that, how did you get hooked up with GWAR?
Okay, well, that was this is a weird story. All right, so Phil Owens from Skate Nicks gets a hold of me, and he says that Lee Ving lives outside of Austin and is going to reform Fear. Okay. And this is 93.
Okay.
I guess so. This is right after the Lollapalooza. And man, Lee's looking for a band, looking for guys to play. So I went down to Austin with Mike Dunn, the drummer, who eventually ended up being ex-Cops drummer. He was
great
also
drummer. Great fucking
in Sedition, Talon with Turner and Pete Lee.
Yeah.
And so we went and spent the weekend at Lee Ving's rustic cabin house, really, really nice house in the woods, all kinds of animals. He's got this, kind of hippie wife that's just rolling joints, and we're just smoking weed. And I'm just like, Lee Ving, he's living out in the woods and he's smoking weed. And he's got peacocks and burros and shit. And it was really cool. It was a really cool weekend. And so I get home and he calls me and he's like, hey, man, I think, we can work together. And he goes, I think Mike Dunn's a little young. He's the same age as my son. So it's kind of weird. Asked me about Hardin, if I thought Hardin would be available. And I said, probably, fuck yeah. And he goes, well, I'm going to LA and I'm gonna talk to some label people and stuff, and I'll be back in touch. But I think we can work. So I'm like, cool. I'm gonna be playing for Fear. And a few days later, I get a call from Tommy Victor from Prom, and he's looking for a bass player.
Jesus.
And so and I'm all cocky, and I'm just like, I think I got this Fear gig and blah, 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 whatever. And he's like, oh, cool, that's great. All right, cool. All right, man, blah, blah. And of course, back then, don't have caller ID or anything, so I don't have his number. Figure I could get a hold of him if I needed to, whatever. So, but I get off the phone with him, and then a couple of days later, I get a call from Lee, who says that he met these guys and they did some demo stuff and they really clicked, and so that's the band, and that's that. So I'm sitting there, shit, I don't have Tommy's number. And before I get my wits together and think, well, he probably got it from Scaccia or Al, so I can get it, get a hold of him, I get a call from Pete Lee. He said that Mike Bishop had left and they're looking for Beefcake, and he knew that I was the guy, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's perfect. That's the gig. That's
dude.
my perfect gig. And then he says, but you have to pay for your own plane ticket. And I'm broke scumbag at the time, have no money. And so I basically get off of that phone call kind of going, oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. So I get off the phone and I'm just like, what the fuck happened? I just had 3 gigs just slip through my fingers. and I'm just sitting there smoking weed like a loser going, wait a minute, surely I can figure this out. And then Pete called me back the next day, and he had convinced them that I was the guy, and so they were going to pay for my ticket, and then that was that. I learned all their songs, and that was it.
What was your first record with them?
Ragnarok.
Nice. Okay.
So Ragnarok, cool. And then Carnival of Chaos, or vice versa.
And then what about Violence Has Arrived? When did Zach got in, like at 98, 99?
Yeah. That one, so. Because I had done those 2 records, and then I left, I think, to move back to Dallas, and they had something come up that I couldn't do, and so they did a record with Mike Bishop, We Kill Everything, and then they did a little bit of touring, and then I came back. Trying to remember how that all played out. We talked about it. I know that I didn't quit. I mean, there was some circumstance that I was moving back to Texas or something, and something came up that they wanted to do, and it was all, go do it. And then, when I came back, and then Zach came in after Pete left.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to me that Zach was in GWAR for 3 years, touring, and 3 years. Yeah.
It was a lifeline. But from my perspective, from seeing my brother, right? Because, Hagfish was ending. And that was all we ever wanted, But I was married. I had my wife to focus on. Like, okay, cool. I'm fine with this. Zach did not. So It was a lifeline. He was like, dude, I've been talking to Casey, and I think Pete's going to have to bow out. And he had been playing with Pete, and Pete was showing him the licks and stuff. And he was like, Casey thinks I can do it. And went, that's fucking great. You should. And I think that it's just incredible.
It was great. It was great. It's one of the cool things about GWAR too is, it sucks when people leave and you have to replace people and stuff.
Sure.
But also that's why GWAR's lasted so long is if somebody doesn't want to be there, then no harm, no foul. Step away, because this band will kill you. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It's more than a band. You're not just a band. You're the road crew. Yep. You come up with the ideas. We come up with the artwork. We work on more aspects, I think, of the whole overall being a band and a touring entity and all that than most musicians do. And we have management and we have all these other people, but GWAR's such an art collective that everybody's hands on.
Yeah.
But that being said, every time a new person comes in, they bring something new to the table, and it's always like a bummer when somebody cool, has to leave. But then inevitably somebody just falls out of the sky going, I'm badass. Let's,
and they bring a whole different aspect, and they make it, you're right. Why it has, because it's an art collective. Art evolves, art keeps going. It's not just in one little box. So if y'all were ever going to just stay in that, you wouldn't be who you are. If they were just,
and we don't have we don't have that weight on our shoulders that a lot of bands have, where you're 4 or 5 guys, and if one guy's not happy, you're 4 or 5 guys that aren't going to function at your best, because you're going to stay these 4 or 5 guys, even if
Exactly.
it's not happy. With us, it doesn't always have to be that way. If you're not happy, fuck off. And I don't mean it like that. I just mean,
but
and I think people see that when they're not, like, I've left the band 4 times.
well, yeah, you
I've
weren't
told
happy.
them to fuck off 4 times, and for different reasons. But it's a hard band to be part of. It's a lot of work. But every time they asked me back, and I said yes.
Well, but at the same point, man, that is your and yes, Mike was doing it and started it, but that is such you're just your beefcake. And I mean the band is so you. It's perfect for you. It's your style, it's horror. It's you bring so much to that with the creativity, with the artwork, with just your love of horror and
Well, it's
everything,
what I
man.
subconsciously always wanted to be when I was a kid. I mean,
Yeah.
the real. I mean, I was attracted to the bass because of my older brother, turning me on to all this music.
Yeah.
But I still wasn't like buying those records and getting into that music on my own. I hadn't found my music yet. And my other brother one day comes in with a I think it was Kiss Alive, and he goes, "Here's your music," and gives me this record. And I just, I was a kid, and I just went, "Yes, you're right. I want to be this." And
Yeah.
then I wanted to be Gene Simmons. It wasn't the bass playing or anything. It was because
Mm-mm.
he looked so fucking cool.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
1976 demon, shit.
Ugh, blood coming out
And
of his fucking mouth. I mean,
that's why I really started trying to learn how to play bass, because I wanted to be that guy, not
Gene. Yeah.
him, but I wanted to be that demon. I wanted to be
Yeah.
that. I didn't care about him. I didn't care about his bass playing as much as I wanted to have that costume on me, and I wanted to walk through the streets hitting people with my guitar.
Well, and be careful what you wish for. You kind of turned
Right.
out to be that.
So
And
I
think about
turned
it,
I turned out to be the poor man's
not a
Gene
poor
Simmons.
man. You turned out to be
But
a badass beefcake.
and it's, of course, GWAR is taken from Kiss and Alice Cooper and Monty
Sure.
Python
Yeah.
and Bugs Bunny and everything. GWAR is a cultural stew, and that's what it always has been. The humor, the people that are characters that come on stage, it's always a reflection of our culture and our world around us. And
Yep.
I mean, we kill every president. We've killed every president since Clinton, and we brought Reagan back in zombie and robot form many, many times. And it doesn't matter what our political feelings are. We're space aliens, and we get to kill everybody.
Yeah. Kill everything.
And absolutely. And we have, and we had the discussions when, all this, everybody was getting canceled, and, all this stuff was happening, and it was starting to become, this is something that, and it still is. I mean, it's,
Sure.
under fascism, none of us are probably going to get to ply our art,
Yeah.
but, we may get another year or two before they lock us all up. But
we're going
I mean,
first.
we have this platform where we can be political without being political, because we're not activists, but
You're aliens.
Trump's a piece of shit, and we get to cut his fucking head off every night. It's fucking very therapeutic. The audience loves it, and we love it. And of course, every now and then you see a guy down the front. It's like, man, that's not cool. He's my president.
Like, well, what did you expect?
Yeah, it's like finding out Willie Nelson smokes weed.
Yeah. GWAR don't like the president. Yeah.
Well, and like I say, I mean, we kill Obama, we kill Clinton. We don't have equal opportunity murderers.
Exactly.
But
you're space aliens. You're not political. You're taking over the world.
We played a festival last year, and some journalist wrote this headline that has GWAR gone too far. They decapitated Trump and Musk on stage. And then all the other news outlets picked it up as if it was the first time that ever happened. That's been happening steadily 200 times a year for 40 years,
Yeah.
And so it got weird. We started getting death threats. It started getting like, okay, they had to, our management actually had to contact the FBI. And I said, don't mention my name. They're not threatening me yet, so I don't want to be involved. But
Yeah.
no, there was some, threats that were credible enough that got families and children, you kind of have to
Wow.
take some shit, you know.
Yeah.
And then, of course, and we didn't, we really wanted to fucking jump into it, lead into the whole thing, but we knew we needed to just back off and let it
Smart.
dissipate.
Yeah.
We don't want to invite shit on us. And
No.
we put the next festival we played, there were snipers. We had cop snipers that were positioned around.
Isn't that
And
weird?
I didn't feel any safer. I don't know who these guys are either. They're
We
fucking
did one of
cops, man.
we did those. God, it was, I think we were in Kansas. It was about 4 years ago or so. There had been a horrible shooting at another campus a few weeks beforehand. And we go out for sound check, and Vaden, my singer, the Toadies, you know him.
I
And
know
we
him.
were, that guy. Also, everybody, Casey was in the lovely band Burden Brothers with my singer Vaden. He's on their first record, Buried in Your Black Heart. So go listen to all that badass bass that I think you did with the jazz bass, Geddy Lee
I
jazz
did
bass.
with Vaden's jazz bass, the
Oh, the
blonde,
blonde one.
that
Oh,
bass.
fuck, I love that.
I'll tell you one thing about him. He's one of those guys that I think has an instinct for
Bass.
picking out an instrument.
Yeah.
Like there could be three identical ones on the wall, and he's gonna have a feel for it.
He's got a great bass feel too. He
Mhm.
really does.
Mhm.
Well, we were watching.
Yeah, those were great times, by the way. That's one of the best times of my life, playing with Taz and your brother.
Yeah, Zach loved that time. I mean, that was right before he
It
got
was
to
a lot of fun.
Rice. He had such a great time, man. But we were outside getting ready for this show, and then Vaden looks up and he hits me and he goes, "Check out on the roofs." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Snipers." So all night, I couldn't even focus on my gig. I couldn't even focus on playing. I kept looking up like,
Right.
are they? Because I was looking like, if they're moving, I'm ducking. Fuck this. And it was very disconcerting.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, don't worry, there's snipers out there, and I'm like, yeah, but they're fucking cops. I mean,
I'm
I don't know if
not
they're
worried.
I don't know if they're Proud Boys. They might they might shoot us because we cut Trump's head off. That doesn't make me feel safer knowing some fucking goddamn pigs up there with a rifle.
Like, wait, now I'm really worried. Well, but
somebody's gonna get me.
that's the way to look at it. That's the way to look. But I love your career though. You've gotten. It's not like you loved all of these things and you had to stifle them. You know what I mean? You didn't have to do that. You love horror. You love metal. You love Gene Simmons. Would you say him and Lemmy influenced you, or other than Gene?
Well, Gene Simmons influenced me because of the look.
Well, not him
vibe.
as a person. No.
But yeah.
No.
And McCartney, Paul McCartney. I still say Paul McCartney's underrated.
Yeah.
As a bass player, dude, that motherfucker dances that bass fucking line over to you, man.
Listen to Simple Love Song, Wings. It's popping. It's just little eighth notes, but listen to what his fucking, I'm sorry, I almost said his left hand. Listen to what his right hand that is doing.
Incredible.
And it's simple.
John Entwistle.
Jesus.
John Entwistle. Another just, and because my brother turned me on to these bass players, I sort of picked out these bands that had great bass players like Rush and The Who and all this stuff. I was more drawn to that. Or if a bass player had a lot of personality or something, it's just,
sure.
I remained drawn to bass. Sometimes I think I should have been a drummer. I've never thought I should have been a guitar player. I still don't feel like it doesn't feel right. I love playing around. I have a beautiful Taylor 12 string, and I love playing that all the time. But it's just so pretty. A monkey could play it and make it sound pretty, But I'm just
there's no
not
power.
a guitar player.
There's no power for me. There's nothing. I mean, if they hit an E, that's cute. If we hit an E, people feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's right. We bring the thunder.
We fucking do.
But yeah, I mean, kind of what happened was, I was into like just Cheap Trick on the Cars and radio rock and the stuff my brother turned me on to and this and that. And then a neighbor, I think it was Judas Priest. What's the Live in Japan?
Ian Hill.
Unleashed in the East.
Unleashed in the East.
Yeah. He had that, and that was a life changer because that just opened up the new wave of British heavy metal.
That's what Zach said. Yeah.
Zach, oh my God! I mean,
listening to it, he says it blows his mind. So.
And what happened was when I was like in 10th grade in high school, our high school was across the street from a record store. And then about a half block down from that were two more record stores, head shop record stores. So there was 3 record stores close by, and we had open campus lunch. And I started skipping classes anyway. I had an art class, and my teacher would just give me the assignment and check me in, and I would just skip the class and still get credit. And then I had another class that I was failing miserably, so I just stopped going. So I'd have 3 hours to go to record stores, and I started getting into this British, new wave of British heavy metal, and Motorhead and all that came like right all in, and I was finding, rediscovering stuff, and then rediscovering punk rock stuff because I was into like radio heavy metal, Black Sabbath and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden here's all this British shit. There's Iron Maiden, Raven. On and on. I'd buy all the compilations. I'd buy all the magazines, the fanzines, and I just fell down that rabbit hole and never came up. I mean, that to me still, my era of heavy metal and everything is that new wave of British heavy metal era.
That was heavy metal. When I think of heavy metal, I think of that specifically. You had 2 guitar players. Everybody had on spandex with fucking cucumbers rammed down there, but they were badass. They sounded heavy. They were killer.
And then kind of at that same time, I started discovering all the punk rock that I wasn't really aware of. Sex Pistols and all that shit. I wasn't in a group of people that really listened to punk. Everything was hard rock and then heavy metal.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, Arlington, Fort Worth, Texas, it was all, rock and metal. Dallas was punk rock. And so we crossed over, and Rigor Mortis was the first metal band to go over to Dallas and play in a punk rock venue. We played at the Circle A Ranch.
No shit.
And
badass.
And it was insane because the skinheads and the Mohawks hated our guts. Yeah. Because we were long-haired, hippies or freaks or whatever. But, to us, it was the same thing. It was hardcore punk and super heavy metal were the same thing. They were just 2 ends of the stick, Yeah. And it had that same energy. And, now you have all these, you got the slam pit at metal shows. Well, that was a punk rock thing, but it merged. And I thought it always made sense for it to merge. You still have people that are on either side that don't want to cross pollinate, but I think it's the same thing. It's energy. It's the same kind of energy.
Especially kids. Yeah. Especially back then, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of this shit. So if it was loud guitars, everyone, especially being from podunk shithole Texas towns, you hear about that and that aggression and that energy. You want to go find that. The right people will find it.
Yeah, me and Hardin did. Somebody told us, you guys got to go check out this place, Circle A Ranch.
Wow.
And so we went there, and there was 2 long-haired metalheads in a room full of hardcore skinheads and Mohawks.
Yeah.
And we did not belong, and we were too stupid to realize we were in danger. And we just went in there and we saw this fucking circle pit and just went, dude, what the fuck? First time I ever saw anything like it. And we just went in and went the opposite direction, and we're just swinging and 2 big skinheads after a couple of songs, and we finally got out of the pit. 2 big skinhead guys came up and were like, hey, we don't give a fuck if you guys are here, but fucking take those fucking spikes off or you're going to be swinging like that and one of them's bleeding. And we're like, okay. We went right back in. And we're just too stupid to realize these guys could have stomped our guts out. But because we were so bold to just go in there and say, "Fuck, this is what we want to do,"
Yeah.
we were able to get a gig there, and we played with a bunch of fucking punk bands, and people were like, "What the fuck?" But that opened the door in Dallas, in Deep Ellum, for Rigor Mortis first, and then other metal bands to start playing there.
Wow.
We'd play next door to Reverend Horton Heat. And then the next door was Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians and shit. And then we would all hang out because it wasn't like a metal scene and a rockabilly scene and shit. It was just some bands playing in this area of town.
And that's what I loved about Dallas. I loved that scene is there was no sound. That's why I think when everybody started getting signed, starting with you guys and Edie Brickell, y'all were signed way before Pantera, way before so many people. You guys and Edie Brickell were. And fuck, I think you guys were way before they were. Y'all were one of the first bands that got signed. They were signed to, you got signed to Capitol Records.
They got signed to Island?
No, I'm talking about you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know who they got.
That's thanks to Jeff Lyles. And Jeff Lyles, he made all that shit happen. Bruce and Hardin bullied their way into his office, I think at the Longhorn, and demanded that he listen to our demo tape. And they almost wouldn't leave without him listening to it. And he finally had to, promise them he was going to listen to it, get the fuck out of my office. And they were demanding that he ditch the opening band for the Megadeth show coming up and put us on it. Right. And so he listened to the tape. Like as soon as they left, he put it in. And by the time they got back to Bruce's house, he had called and left a message. And he put us on the show. Who was it? I want to say Stickmen with Ray Guns.
I remember.
So he switched them over to the Motorhead show, which I would have rather been on anyway. But so that's how we got kind of in the door with bigger shows over there. We opened up for Megadeth.
Well, Jeff, and that's the thing. Jeff's a man of his word. Still the same. He tells you he's going to do something. He's going to do something. But that was the great thing. Like you just said, you were friends with Edie Brickell's band. Reverend Horton Heat, Course of Empire, you guys. In most other scenes, everybody wanted to hang out and sound the same, or that was what made it easier for major labels, because they could market that. They could not market any of the Dallas bands because none of us sounded like each other. And when they did start to try to sound like each other, if there was a Rigor Mortis copy, no one was going to go. Like, oh, why? We already have Rigor Mortis. We already have Reverend Horton Heat.
There were so many other bands, though, in Fort Worth and Arlington. There was a very fertile ground for metal. There was a lot of metal bands. I mean, it was Gamicide, and there was Rotting Corpse, and there were tons and tons of bands.
Gamicide ripped. Oh, I've
got Fly. I never throw anything away. I've got every demo tape. I've got demo tapes that people freak out on because they're just like, those don't exist anymore. We can't find these. And you have the folded paper insert.
Dude, that's a great point. That's a great fucking point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, west of Dallas was all metal. You guys, Pantera, like you said, Gamicide, Sedition, everyone. All of the punk and the alternative was in Dallas. I can't think of of a metal Dallas band. Can you?
No, not of that time. Not of that time period. I don't think there really were.
Because Pantera was still out of Arlington. All of you guys and them are out of Arlington. Huh. I never thought about that.
But North Texas was this very, very fertile ground. There's a guy, Jeff Gage, who he wrote for The Observer. He wrote for Rolling Stone. He's doing a book on basically the North Texas metal scene. And he's reached out to me and Hardin, and it's sort of Pantera and Rigor Mortis are sort of going to anchor the story.
Nice.
But delve into the scene a lot more. So
if you talk to him and he wants to talk to Zach and I about Harm's Way with a Z, we would love to discuss that with him.
Yeah, I will. I'll send him your way.
Kidding, dude. No,
I mean, just because you guys, for many reasons. I mean, just you just your memories of the bands that you like and stuff.
Okay,
be very helpful.
But I mean, our bands were copying you guys, not Pantera, because at that point, like after they got popular, we were already pretty much out of that. I mean, we were listening to other stuff. We still loved you guys, but when we were playing in metal bands, they were still playing a place in Dallas and Sherman called the Electric Company, but they were still doing covers.
Yeah.
So that was then that era. But
Yeah. And we always, as us and our fans kind of to an extent, looked at them as they play all these cover songs, they play all the radio stuff, they play 4 sets a night in all these bars, and we want to be like a concert. So we were like one of the first bands to like go to Joe's Garage in Fort Worth and say, we want to bring in 2-3 other bands and make a night of it instead of playing, and Ab Grigg, who ran that club and gave so many people, opportunities to get on stage.
Yeah.
He let us do it. And I don't know that we were the very first metal band in the area to put on a show that way at a legit club, but we were one of the few. We were one of the earliest ones. And, Pantera were still playing covers, and they were sort of morphing from Van Halen to Motley Crue and then Anthrax came along, and all of a sudden it's board shorts, and whereas they were spandex and fishnet and bandanas around every joint, which was fine because that's how they got money. So fucking good. Well, not just that, but they were playing all the time, and that's how they got so goddamn good.
Fucking so good. But think about that. I think that's a great anchor to use you guys in Pantera for that, because both bands, same fucking area, literally same area, not like one suburb over, like they're Garland and you're fucking Duncanville or something like that. You're both from Arlington, and you're all three just the main 3 guys that playing in the band are just tight as shit, and just all you guys did.
Think about this. Arguably the 2 best metal guitar players to ever come out of Texas, much less North Texas.
Period.
Both I'm going to go with stage.
Period. Yeah. Yes.
Both died on stage.
Doing unfortunately, Daryl went in such a violent fashion. Yeah. Horrible. And because I love Mike, I hate that Mike went, but Mike went doing what he loved to do.
You couldn't write it better, because it was Christmas time. It was Bruce's 50th birthday. People that we hadn't seen since the old Joe's Garage days were there because it was Christmas time.
Yeah.
And more people had come out of the woodwork than had in 20 years. The place was packed with people that we hadn't seen in 20 years.
Casey, I was almost there. We were rehearsing Toadies Were for a show. I was this close to going, and I was just exhausted. Like, I'll see them next time. Like a fucking moron, And it was, Mike was on top of his game. He had 2 beautiful young kids, beautiful wife. His home life was doing great. He was doing clinics for Gibson guitars. Yeah.
He worked for Gibson guitars. I mean, all his dreams had come true. He was clean. He seemed to be healthy.
Yep.
And he was playing his favorite guitar. These things were going through my mind when they were working on him. I'll say he'd dropped dead basically from a massive heart attack and stroke. Piece of the clog had shot to his brain, and a massive heart attack, from what I heard, at the same time. And he basically just dropped dead. His body quivered some, but I don't think he was conscious at all. I think he was for
gone.
All practical purposes, gone before he hit the ground.
Yeah, he was gone.
But these things you're thinking, while they're working on him, and they're not going to stop working on him on stage because there's 300 people there and stuff. And I look down and the thought goes through my mind, died with his boots on, or his favorite Les Paul, or
playing a solo.
I'm glad he's with this band, which is his band, my band, Hardin's band, Bruce's band, instead of with someone else's band. This didn't happen with Ministry, or it didn't happen. So, this is his hometown, his family. The people that loved him the longest and loved him the most were all there, unfortunately, witnessing this. But it's one of those things, you couldn't write it any better, because everybody says, I want to die on stage doing what I love to do.
Sure.
He did, and not in the horrible way that dying.
Daryl did. That was,
the thing about Daryl, I just wanted to say is I always remember, like, right at the moment when that dickhead was about to shoot him, there's a picture, And Daryl's just still got this big old Daryl shit-eating grin on his face. And he's staring right at the guy.
Yeah. He doesn't
before
even
the guy pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And it's just,
we met him once. Really sweet man. Just a hell of a talent. Both of them sweet people. And you're right that they went the exact same way. With their guitars, they literally died with their boots on. Well, I mean, how
yeah.
they
And
died with
what
their
are the
guitars
odds?
in their hand. Yeah, you think about it like, well, why wouldn't they? Of two people
Right.
I can think in my life, why wouldn't they?
Well, Mike could have died in his sleep, and he still would have had his guitar in his hands because he slept his goddamn sleep.
Fucking touche.
He did.
I don't doubt it. I've kept you for a bit, but I want to talk about some stuff before we
okay.
go. I don't want to end on that. I mean, I'm glad because, again, Mike was of course, he was your best friend. It was horrible. I heard about it the next morning, and I could not believe it. I was just flabbergasted. But also, I was just thinking of anyone that needed to have a good release from life, Mike did. So everyone, please go out and listen to anything Mike Scaccia did. Listen to any Rigor Mortis record, of course, that they're just fucking incredible. So you'll hear what formed my brother and I and our love for speed metal and thrash and everything, you guys. But I want to talk about your bass. What I always loved is you were always playing Gibson basses. You were like Mr. T-Bird guy. You used to have an Explorer. You were the first person I ever saw that played a Gibson Explorer. What did you do the first record with?
The first record I recorded with the white 1983 white Gibson Explorer bass.
That bass? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which, story on that bass is at some point, I think after Mike had joined ministry, or maybe even before that, at some point I pawned it and kept paying on, and I finally, I don't know why, with some stupid brain dead move, I let it go in the pawn shop. And years later, this guy, I think you know this guy, Zach Blair.
I've heard of him.
He texts me and he says, "What's your address? What's your mailing address? I'm going to send you something." And I'm thinking, Rise Against CD or something, it's a new whatever. And a couple of days later, I luckily came home early from work at 2 p.m. And there's this fucking box wide open, leaning against the wall, like anybody could have stolen it. Had I seen it, I would have probably thought I knew what was in it, and maybe have thought of taking it aside, open it up. It's a 1983 white Gibson Explorer bass, and he found it on the Guitar Center used page, and it was in Oklahoma City, which is what 3.5 hours away from here. It could be my bass. I don't know. God, because I never knew the serial number.
He never told me that. So I do not
really.
Know that. Hand on my father's grave. I do not know that. That's my brother.
That's what an awesome dude your brother is. And he just said, I was just dicking around and I saw that and I knew that you used to have one, and I'm in Rise Against and I'm rich now. Here, have one.
But of all the people in the world, that's what makes me so fucking happy is my brother loves to put smiles on people's faces like that.
He put tears in my eyes, man. When I opened that thing up, and the thought process of your brother thinking about me and pulling the trigger on something like that was just the coolest thing ever.
You mean a lot to him. You mean a lot to both of us, but especially to Zach, because you guys have spent so much time. I mean, you've literally seen the world together several times over. You've done a lot together. Yeah. So he holds you in very high regard. He loves you a lot.
I love him too.
I know that. And like I said, I do too. I love you, but you and Zach have done a lot more together than I.
Damn it, Donnie, I love you.
Damn it, Casey. But
so anyway,
let's hear. I want to hear about back to you. Enough about the Blair
Enough about
brothers.
Anyone else.
Enough about these Irish idiots. I want to hear about your bass. So,
okay,
tell me about it, please.
Well, when I came back to GWAR at one point, I guess time before several times, I've been in and out of GWAR so many times, and this is the truth, that I'm Beefcake the Mighty number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. It's true.
That's pretty good.
So when I had come back at one point, I didn't really have anything, a bass that was proper to play in a GWAR situation. So I reached out to Scaccia. He hooked me up with Rita Haney, and
Okay.
Rita hooked me up with Dean. And so Dean hooked me up for years and years and years. Basically gave me anything I wanted, and I played all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then at a point, I just was like, man, every time I left GWAR and someone came in, they hooked up with Dean and played the same bass I was playing before. So I kind of got to the point where I was like, I can't play all those spiky Razorbacks I was playing because these guys keep coming in and playing them after I leave, and I want my own.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I just sort of realized how well Schecter had been treating Mike Dirks and Corey Smoot
Sure.
in GWAR. And then I would stay at Dirks's house in his room where he had all his guitar. Dirks was ball sack to jaws of death, by the way. Then I would stay in his spare room, and he had 30 Schecter guitars in there. And so I'd plunk around on them here and there. And I started realizing what really good quality these guitars were. I really thought they were a step above. And his guy, Colin, we talked about hooking me up, and like, no problem. So they hooked me up. I got a couple of the Riot 4 basses that I used on tour for many years.
Nice.
And then Colin was like, hey, would you be interested in doing a Casey Orr signature bass? Once the erection went down, I said yes. So basically it was like, what do you want? They weren't going to do a brand new body style cut.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, kind of whatever I wanted. I really, really liked the Riot 4s I was playing, just the neck profile, the electronics, pickups, everything. I like the tone. I just like the weight and everything. So we started talking. I was like, I kind of want the neck profile and all these specs and this and that. And I want block inlays and I want this and I want that. So we started talking about, I wasn't going to do an Explorer because Ballsack's been doing the Explorer. And we talked about doing the sort of more Thunderbird style, which is the Nicky 6 bass, is that sort of Thunderbird style.
Yeah.
Well, when we first started talking about it, Nicky 6 didn't want anybody using that style because that was his signature style. There was another guitar body that was the same kind of thing. We started talking about using that and this and that. Then he came back and said that Nicky didn't give a shit anymore. We can use that body cut.
Nice.
So this isn't my bass, but this is the Nicky 6 bass. This is the 6, and this is the body shape.
With the P and the J.
So my bass is the same shape,
but
I've got the two soap bar EMGs that are on the Riot 4.
Yeah.
And the electronics are identical to the Riot 4. I've got a kill, so this is a kill switch. I've got the kill switch, but I put it here. I'll probably never use it because it's not really a big deal, but it's a kill switch. I can kill things.
It makes sense though when I saw it because you're Explorer and Thunderbird. Like, that makes so much fucking sense, man.
But the cool thing is I had him send me one, because I hadn't even really held one of these. I wanted to see the profile. This neck is big, fat, like baseball bat neck, and the body's real thick and heavy. So I'm like, well, this isn't going to be like my signature. And he's like, no. So it's basically this style. It's a lot thinner. It's a lot lighter. The neck profile is real thin, real super fast.
Nice.
It's got block inlays. It's got an eyeball on the 7th fret. It's got my little Art of Orr logo on the back. And man, I'm not even kidding. This is a pretty cool bass. The 6 as it is, it's a lot fatter, kind of P bass.
Really? Okay.
Bass. But the Casey Orr beefcake bass, I'm serious. I think it's maybe the nicest bass I've ever played. I love it.
When's it coming out? When can people buy it?
It should be coming out middle of the year-ish, I think. Okay. I hope. I got to talk to them about, I need a backup for the tour because it is with the strap on. If I had to switch to the Riot 4, it's just like totally crazy night and day.
Sure.
So I kind of need a backup of the same bass. So if I do have to switch out real fast, it's not a big change.
They're a great company. They're actually one of my sponsors. Schecterguitars.com, everybody. So
their stuff is amazing. We went to the factory. Even like the cheap guitars, when they get them in, even like the $300 guitars and stuff, they still go through the same people who check out and set up all the expensive guitars.
Wow.
So even the cheaper guitars get a once over by the same people there.
Well, it just made sense that, like, if you had ended up with a signature that looked like a jazz bass, I would kind of be like, I'd be a little bummed. That's not you.
Right.
It's just, to me, it's not. I want to see Casey Orr with a huge bass, an Explorer, a T-Bird, something that's like, that you're going to, like, it could act as a bass where you're going to bring the thunder, or you could take it off and just decapitate someone with it.
Yeah. You could paddle a boat across a small lake with it.
Why not? You never know when you're not going to be. You never know when you're going to need to paddle.
Why not? Why not bass?
Why not? You're going to do it with a guitar? No. Oh, let me take off my strap.
I could have done anything. I could have done, crazy paints and stuff like that. And I wanted to make it a bass that would appeal to other bass players.
Yeah.
Not just.
I can't wait to play.
Oh my God! It looks really cool. That was more important than anything else. That it was a easy to play, great sounding bass, and I love it.
It looks amazing, man. It really does. Whenever the pictures I've seen, and my brother told me this, I found out, and then I'm going to let you go in a little bit. You're going through an Alpha Omega. You don't have an amp or anything now, do you?
No, it's funny. I've been playing PV Tour 700s for years and years. My buddy Chris Kelly is head A&R there for a long time.
Kelly. Love Chris Kelly. Great guy.
And he hooked me up, and they never asked anything of me. They just gave me tons and tons of shit. I've got 4 cabinets and 2 heads in a garage I don't even know what to do with anymore. But I played those for years and years, and then I bought a orange OB1 500 head. We were thinking about getting all orange stuff and making that part of our backdrop kind of look and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
They didn't fit in our set carts and all that, so we didn't do that. But I went ahead and bought this head because they said they were phasing them out and they only had like 1 left in the warehouse. So I was like, I'll take it. And then right after that, we were out on the road with Static X, and they have a lot of fucking staging and shit. Yeah. And so do we. And so there was one show where we didn't have room on stage. And so the question was, can we do this show without the cabinets behind us? And we'll just go through the in-ears and stuff. So I was like, well, we're already in in-ears. Let's, we don't have a whole lot of choice. So we did it and couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I was surprised. And I was like, man, I didn't want to wear in-ears, when I came back to GWAR, and I was like, fucking pussy bullshit. Of course, now it's like, yeah, in-ears are fucking great.
I don't like doing it without. Yeah, they're fucking life-changing, man. Oh, I love it.
But I'm that old curmudgeonly, back in my day, we had big monitor wedges.
You can go deaf with monitors, not in-ears.
So we played without our cabinets, and it was just like, well, fuck that shit then. We don't need it, man. Everybody's going through their computer amps and their Kempers and all this shit. I'm super simple. I was just going through a Sans amp at the time, and I got the Sans amp VT, which has the mid knob on it, that made a huge difference.
They sound great.
And then this really cool dude, a GWAR fan, came to one of the meet and greets, and he had 2 dark glass pedals, and he gave me the Alpha Omega, and he gave Mike Bishop the other one, which was the one that's more like a SVT.
VBT. It's a micro tube, VB2. Yeah, it's amazing.
And it was the missing piece. This thing, I plugged it in, and Bobby, my front of house guy, just comes over the mic and goes, "You can throw the other one away. This is it."
Yeah.
It's
life changing.
It just made my sound complete. So literally, I'm going from the wireless to my tuner to the dark glass to front of house in my ears, and it sounds huge. It's amazing.
Sure. Zach heard that he saw you guys recently, or you were telling him, or he's just heard that your tone is. He goes, dude, it's the best tone that Casey's ever had.
I have heard recordings of it, and I'm just like, holy shit. I thought I made a mistake at that one part of the song, but it's not there anymore. That thing's it's the best pedal I've ever owned.
They're incredible technology. Their heads are amazing. The quad cortexes are amazing. The pedals, I've got an Alpha Omega. I run that on stage, and I use the micro tubes all the time. I'll take that to studio stuff and use it. It's great stuff, man. you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like my stuff just to be super simple.
sure.
I don't want to, the other guys have all these pedals and shit, and every day, they're down on their knees trying to find which cable's fucked up, and the guitar tech, everybody's helping them, and I'm just like, fuck that, man.
I
I don't
have
want to
this.
do that.
Yeah. I've got my
you know,
bass and I have
they get
this.
they get great tones,
Yeah.
but I'm just not. I'm not that kind of bass player. I'm not like changing my tone. It sounds like fun, but every time I play around with a pedal, it takes something away.
Yeah.
It's just never. I've never found a combination of more than one pedal that just makes me happy. And it's like Scaccia said, man. Mike Scaccia is one of the things that and he said it to someone else, but it's always stuck with me because it's true. And it's not like got magic hands or anything, but he always said, man, yeah, the guitar is a factor, the amp is a factor, your pedals are a factor, but if you can't get it out of these, if your hands can't make the guitar, can't manipulate the guitar to make the sounds, then it doesn't matter what amp or guitar it is. It's got to come from here first, and then all that stuff can make it cooler and bigger. But if you can't get and I noticed that I play because I play a lot of different stuff, and I play a lot of different bass players stuff in GWAR
Yeah.
and other bands I've been in, and I've learned to manipulate, to muffle, to palm mute, to pluck. Like "Have You Seen Me," a GWAR song. I'm
Sure.
reworking that right now, and I'm determined I'm gonna pull up on those strings and get that thunka 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 thunka, that upright bass sound, because I can now. If I can do it consistently,
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that to me has always been sort of the beauty of progressing as a bass player, is learning to do things without all that stuff,
Yep.
and make some cool magic just with my hands.
Well, and also I want to leave it there with what Mike Scaccia said. The great Mike Scaccia. If it's not in your hands, then you don't need it.
Yeah,
And that's you.
it's got to come from here first.
Well, and that's why you guys were a cut above everyone else, because it's in your hands. It's not in the pedal. It's not in the instrument. It's in your hands. So, again, thank you for doing this, Casey. Everybody,
Thank you, Donnie. It's been a blast.
great Casey Orr. I love you a lot. Thank you for being everything you are. I mean, I've always looked up to you. I've always wanted to tell you what you meant.
Oh man, thanks. That means a lot, Donnie. I've always admired everything you've done. I'm so proud that you're in the Toadies.
You guys were the best, and we were able to see, like, wow, these guys are from Dallas. They're doing it. We might be able to do it, so
You
thank
did.
you.
You fucking Hagfish was one of the best bands, hands
Thank you.
down, ever came out of DFW area.
But Casey, we never would have been able to do that if we hadn't have seen guys like you. If I hadn't seen you up there doing, like, this guy's from Dallas, we never would have had that inspiration or that gumption, if you will, to do it. Like, wow, they did it.
And the generation before, when I was, me and Harden were sneaking into bars underage, and we were seeing bands like Agent and the Fugitives and all these older rock and roll bands that were playing the club circuit.
Yeah.
Those guys they were just local guys, but they were up there making music, and that inspired us. They're doing it right here in our town.
Yeah.
And that inspired us.
And then it went to us.
Yeah.
And then that's where it stopped.
That's it. No more.
No one's inspired anymore.
You will never love again.
Like, you guys inspired us, and then we did it. We
That's
got
it.
up there.
Done. What else you gonna do?
And
All
then-
the notes have been played.
It stopped right there. All right, I love you.
Love you too, Donnie.
Yes, thank you again for doing this, man.
And thanks to everybody out there for all the support of rock and roll bass players.
Awesome. I'll see you in a bit, man.
Bye, man. Cheers.
All right, folks, that is Casey Orr. I've known him probably close to 35 years. Like I said on the podcast, he was a huge influence for me and just his band for my brother and I. Listening to Rigor Mortis, picking up their record at Musicland, it was on Capitol Records. It wasn't a local record label. It was Capitol Records, Sinatra, Duran Duran, Rigor Mortis. And we were able to go see them. These guys were from Arlington. It's not a small town. It's a suburb of Dallas, but it's within an hour of us. Here they are. They're right in front of us. We just couldn't believe it. They were an amazing band. They sounded incredible. They weren't that much older than us, and it was just so inspiring to see these guys that were doing it also. And with Slayer, we got to see them, and then we got to see Slayer, so it was just a hell of a night. And I think my dad got high down at the Royal Rat Club, a reggae club. So it was a pretty good night. But just fantastic band, fantastic guys. I love Casey. He's just such an incredible player. He's just, I don't want to say meat and potatoes because I think that kind of takes away some of the skill that Casey has. He's not basic. He has an incredible right hand. He's always been able to just be an incredible bass player. And that's the thing. Casey's not a guitar player that turned to bass. Casey is a bass player. He knows he can play guitar. We both can a little bit. But Casey is a bass player. He's never done anything but play bass. And I've never seen him not play bass amazing in any band he's in, whether it was GWAR, Rigor Mortis, Burden Brothers. That's another thing. Go pick up Buried in Your Black Heart, the first Burden Brothers record. It's incredible. His tone on that's fantastic. It's just good rock. And Casey more than handles the low end on that. He just plays his ass off on it. I've loved him forever. I'm just glad he's my friend. So hope everybody enjoyed it. And I also want to have a shout out to our sponsors at Jim Dunlop and MXR. You can go to jimdunlop.com to check out everything they have. They have so much for us bass players. Just incredible stuff that I love, that I use myself. And Schecter Guitars at schecterguitars.com. Definitely check it out. They are going to be having the Casey Orr signature bass. Don't know when, but whenever Casey lets me know if that comes out, then we'll definitely do like a shout out for that. I'll do something specific and talk about it here on the podcast. Okay? So thanks again for listening. I really appreciate all of you. Okay. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.